I can very easily accelerate to 160 km/h in the Volga and safely maintain that speed comfortably. How is it? I really can, in theory. Once again, I'm surrounded by exhibits and I'm riding around the museum grounds in Verkhnaya Pishma. But in theory, once again, this car is capable of that. No matter how you improve the Volga, it will always remain a comfortable Volga for its time. And even today, it's a comfortable car. Oh, that leaf spring sway of the hips, even in this version. But it seems like it is, but it isn't. But the most frustrating thing is that none of the passers-by understand what I'm driving. Well, it's a Volga, and a Volga, well, it's black. Well, it's cool. It's frustrating. The history of the Gaz-24 began 7 years before its production started in 1961 at the design bureau of the Gorky automobile plant. Under the leadership of chief designer Alexander Nevzorov, the appearance was handled by two young artists, Kiriv and Sokolenko. They weren't exactly told what to develop, so several projects were happening simultaneously. It's a rhetorical question. Who ruled the ball of automotive design in those years? Of course, America. Was there any obvious copying of a specific model? More no than yes. But it turned out very stylish and in style. A logical question is, how do you prove that you didn't copy? Once again, for those who are particularly slow, yes, we were inspired by just a small part of the models that we admired. Ford Falcon, Chevrolet Corvair, Plymouth Valiant, and a few Europeans who were also looking towards America. Mercedes-Benz 220, Fiat 2300, Holden Standard Sedan, and so on. With 225 230, the Standard Sorcerer, all the data, and so on. The car for that time, I'm talking about the Volga, turned out to be very modern. By the way, it's 10 centimeters longer than the 21 in the base, but in terms of body length, they're practically the same. The new Volga is lower, but also more elegant, if you will. The elegance lies in the fact that the appearance turned out to be concise, complete, and not overloaded with decorative elements. The surfaces are cut with sharp angles, with none of the roundness of the previous model. But at the same time, the artists left a few recognizable elements as a reminder of continuity. Of course, the round headlights and the chrome grille with the so-called whale mustache. So the first cars, truly in mass production and officially, only started being produced. In 1970, before that, there were only small experimental batches. Why is that? The release was timed to coincide with the anniversary of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. In our country, they generally love to time a lot of things. Since the car turned out to be very representative, it was primarily distributed for government service. Of course, to ministries, agencies, taxi fleets, and other nomenclature institutions. At that time, the only cars cooler than the Volga were the government Zils and Gaz, but they served the government elite, while the Volgas were for lower-ranking officials. But there was another organization, the KGB of the USSR. The Committee for State Security always needed specific cars for its covert state needs, and always had the necessary transport at his disposal. There were also M-series cars, were more powerful than the usual ones, and souped-up Pobidas, and the Gaz-21, with a powerful engine that barely fit under the hood. But here's what's interesting. The KGB only received the upgraded Volga 3 years after mass production began. No, the regular Volgas immediately filled the parking lot at Lubyanka, but the unusual ones. But to be honest, who can really tell the difference? That's the strength of the unusual Volga. In the exhibition of the car museum in Verkhnaya Pishma, there are several similar cars. By the way, the museum is just 15 minutes away from Yekaterinburg. It's hard to miss it even from space, as it covers an area of about 85,000 square meters and has over 12,000 exhibits. Not at all. Not at all. There are no obvious external signs. Yellow fog lights on the bumper. Not a sign. Red and blue lights behind the grille. You won't see them either. This car also doesn't have any special antennas or any other additional features or equipment. There's one muffler. Well, unless you look under the chassis. I'll get ahead of the train and say that there is one exhaust pipe, but there are two resonators, and the exhaust pipes cross under the body, merging into one near the rear axle. The suspension of the Gaz 2424, which is the car's digital designation, looks completely ordinary at first glance. In the front, there's an independent pivot-type spring suspension with a stabilizer, and in the back, there's a Volga axle. But if you take a closer look, you'll see that the rear has stronger leaf springs. This is the Gaz 2402 station wagon, which is a well-known and popular vehicle model. And the front springs are stronger. The diameter of the anti-roll bar has been increased, and the track width has been widened. And now the moment of truth. What's in the trunk? They say that they put a counterweight in the trunk for the chase car. I haven't seen keys like these. Well, comrades, know-it-alls indeed, concrete slabs and curbs. So, as you can see, there's a concrete slab, which is carefully and precisely poured in place in the trunk to ensure stability. Well, comrades, since we're still outside, so how's it outside? We're in the exhibition hall, comrades. I mean, not in the cabin. I'll show you the heart of the Volga 2424. People in the know called this model of the Volga 2424 double. Got it. '2424 double. Got it? All right. They called this model of the Volga 2424 more double. Got it. All right. Mamma mia! What's with me speaking Italian again? So the heart of the Chaika, it's true it's been modified a bit, and the body of the Volga had to be modified a bit to fit in B8. How do you mount a heavy engine where it clearly wasn't intended? That's right, reinforce everything that can be reinforced. The longitudinal beams were made stronger. In some places we used our orthodox braces and struts, a different configuration of the front power elements. We also had to cut the long-suffering longitudinal beams to fit the large radiator and installed our own sub-radiator beam. They also attached the front suspension beam to it. What's interesting is that there's a dual-channel ignition system switch here. Similar things can be found in military vehicles. If the ignition isn't working, the car will still make it to the garage. Somehow, the maximum power is 195 horsepower at 4,400 revolutions per minute. The maximum torque is 411 Nm at 2,200, 2,500 revolutions per minute. The engine itself is made entirely of aluminum, just as it is, with wet sleeves. The cylinder diameter is 100 mm. The piston stroke is... And now, dear guests, esteemed ladies and distinguished gentlemen, please welcome to the interior. And again, visually, the Volga looks like a Volga. The only thing is the interior is rich and trim, pistachio-colored door cards. The edges of the chairs and sofas are upholstered in the same color. Pastel colors are calming. The back seat has an armrest. The interior of the Volga is a home, a lovely, cozy home. And it seems like everything is the same as always. Well, yes, the ultra-shortwave radio station Lion. Yes, sir. Not a measure. Pedals. 3. The gear shift lever has a knob, first, second, third, fourth, reverse. So here, as you can clearly see and understand, there are only 2 pedals. The clutch pedal is essentially a component, and it's combined in conjunction with the brake. And this handle is specifically designed for the automatic transmission system. The gear operation indication is conveniently located on the left side, just above the temperature sensor. To engage the drive mode, simply pull the handle towards you. The middle position represents neutral. To reverse, push the handle forward. By the way, did you know that the dashboard of the Volga is made completely symmetrically? Why is that necessary? Well, if someone buys a Volga in hypothetical England, the glove compartment fits perfectly into the dashboard, and the dashboard fits into the glove compartment. Their trims are almost identical. The sound of the engine is more serious. Even their edging is almost identical. The engine sound is more serious. When you press the accelerator sharply, the car rocks a little due to its cubic capacity. So the start is correspondingly more confident. The car can accelerate to 100 km/h in 12 seconds, which is really, really good. But the main thing is that this Volga was dynamic on the road. And there's also a power steering here. Structurally similar to the Seagull in many ways, but experienced drivers turned it off. They say the car is difficult to manage with it, and also, the double really loved to skid. Rear-wheel drive, powerful engine. Over the years of production, about 1,000 of these cars were made. They were assembled by hand, right there where they made the government limousine. The bodies were often locally tin-coated for real. And one more thing, the fuel consumption is around 30, but not just any kind of gasoline. For government cars, the fuel was supplied from Finland. AI 95 and 98 are unleaded. And you can still feel that the brakes here are the drum brakes from a regular Volga, and sometimes I really push them, and they just don't have enough power. Similar modernized Volgas were used not only as pursuit vehicles for operational services, but also as escort cars for high-ranking officials. Again, there are quite a few of these vehicles left, but only a handful are in good condition. A unique car, an interesting history, but the car is completely unknown to ordinary citizens. Its existence is surrounded by mysteries and myths. I hope we've uncovered some of those mysteries and secrets for you. And from here on, it's up to you. The hunt continues. And from here on, it's up to you. And the hunt continues. Hooray!